My best friend almost destroyed the most important day of my life. This is how I discovered she was sabotaging my proposal plans, and why I had to get the police involved. Hey everyone, I never thought I'd be sharing something this personal online, but this might help someone else who might be dealing with a toxic friend situation. This happened over the span of several months last year, and I'm still processing everything that went down. So for context, I've been with my boyfriend Mason for about 3 years now. He's this amazing guy who works as an architect. Not rolling in money or anything, but he's got his life together, owns his small apartment, drives a decent car, and has this incredible work ethic. We met through mutual friends at a barbecue, and honestly, it was one of those instant connection things where we talked until 3 a.m. about everything from our childhood dreams to our favorite pizza toppings. My best friend since college, Maya, seemed happy for us at first. She was always around, joining our movie nights, coming to dinners with us, being the third wheel but in a fun way. Or at least that's what I thought at the time. Looking back now, there were so many red flags I completely missed. About 8 months into dating Mason, I started noticing little comments from Maya. Nothing major, just tiny digs here and there. Oh, Mason seems tired today, work stress getting to him? Or, it's sweet how he tries to keep up with your social circle even though he's more of a homebody. At the time, I brushed it off as her being protective, or maybe just observant. I thought she was looking out for me. Fast forward to last fall, and I decided I wanted to propose to Mason. I know, traditionally the guy does the proposing, but Mason had mentioned several times how he thought it was outdated, and how he'd love it if more women took the initiative in relationships. Plus, I just knew he was the one, and I didn't want to wait around hoping he'd work up the courage. We talked about marriage, kids, our future together. All the important stuff was aligned. I was so excited about my plan. I'd been saving up for months to buy him this beautiful vintage watch he'd admired at an antique shop downtown. It was from the 1950s, with this gorgeous leather band and intricate face details. The shop owner, Mrs. Carter, had agreed to hold it for me while I made payments over 4 months. It cost me nearly $2,000, which was a huge stretch on my teacher's salary, but Mason was worth every penny. I also planned this whole romantic evening. I booked the rooftop restaurant where we had our first official date, arranged for them to play our song when dessert came out, and I even ordered a custom dress online. This stunning midnight blue number that made me feel like $1 million when I tried the sample size at the boutique. Here's where things get weird. I told Maya about my proposal plans because, well, she was my best friend. I was bursting with excitement and needed someone to share it with. She seemed thrilled, offering to help with planning, suggesting I get my hair done at her salon, even volunteering to be my photographer to capture the moment secretly from a nearby table. But then strange things started happening. First, the dress. I'd ordered it 6 weeks in advance to make sure it arrived with plenty of time for any alterations. The shipping tracking showed it was out for delivery on a Tuesday when I was at work. I'd specifically arranged for my neighbor Mrs. Fisher to accept packages that day since I knew I'd be in back-to-back parent conferences all afternoon. When I got home, no dress. Mrs. Fisher said no one had come by. I checked with the delivery company, and they said someone at my address had refused the package, claiming it was the wrong address. This made no sense because I'd triple-checked everything. When I called the boutique, they said I'd have to reorder, but now it would take another 4 weeks, putting it right up against my proposal date. I was panicked. This was the dress, you know? I'd planned the whole evening around how I'd look and feel in it, but I reordered and prayed it would work out. Then, 2 weeks before the proposal, I went to pick up Mason's watch from Mrs. Carter's shop, and she looked confused. "Oh, honey," she said, "your friend already picked it up yesterday. The pretty Indian girl with the long braid? She said you'd sent her, and showed me the payment receipts on her phone." My heart literally dropped into my stomach. Maya had my watch. The watch I'd been paying for over 4 months. The centerpiece of my entire proposal plan. I called her immediately, trying to keep my voice steady. "Hey, did you pick up something from Mrs. Carter's shop for me?" There was this pause, and then Maya laughed in this weird way. "Oh my God, yes. I was going to surprise you. I thought I'd hold on to it to make sure you didn't get cold feet and return it. You know how you get with big decisions." That stung. I don't get cold feet with big decisions, and Maya knew that. I'm actually pretty decisive when it matters. But I pushed down my irritation and asked her to bring it over that evening. She showed up around 9 p.m. with this strange energy. Instead of just handing over the watch box, she sat down on my couch and started asking all these questions about whether I was really sure about proposing. What if he says no? What if he's not ready? What if this puts too much pressure on him and he runs? On and on. I finally got the watch from her, but something felt off about the whole interaction. She seemed almost disappointed when I didn't change my mind about the proposal. The day of my proposal. Let's call it P-Day. I was a nervous wreck in the best possible way. I'd taken the afternoon off to get ready, do my nails, pick up flowers, all that stuff. The reordered dress had arrived just 3 days prior, and thankfully it fit perfectly. Except when I went to get the dress from my closet that afternoon, it wasn't there. I tore my entire bedroom apart. Checked every closet, every room, even the laundry area, thinking maybe I'd absent-mindedly hung it somewhere weird. Nothing. The dress had vanished. At this point, I was starting to feel like the universe was conspiring against me, but I refused to let it ruin everything. I had a backup dress. Not nearly as perfect, but decent enough. I was not letting anything stop this proposal from happening. The evening went beautifully despite everything. Mason looked so handsome in his navy blazer, and when I got down on one knee right as the sun was setting behind the city skyline, his face lit up in this way I'll never forget. He said yes immediately, tears in his eyes, and we both cried and laughed and kissed while the other diners applauded. It should have been the perfect end to the story, right? But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was seriously wrong. 2 major items connected to my proposal had either been delayed or gone missing, and the only person who knew all the details was Maya. I decided to do some investigating. First, I went back to the delivery company and asked to speak with the driver who'd attempted to deliver my dress the first time. After some persistence and explaining that it was important, they connected me with him over the phone. He clearly remembered the delivery because, as he put it, the woman who refused the package was really insistent and kind of rude about it. When I asked him to describe her, my blood ran cold. Indian woman, maybe late 20s, long dark hair in a braid, wearing scrubs like she worked at a hospital or something. Maya's a dental hygienist. She wears scrubs to work every day and always wears her hair in a long braid. But I needed more proof. I asked the delivery driver what time this had happened, and he checked his records. 2:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. I pulled up Maya's Instagram from that day. Yes, I know, social media stalking my best friend, but desperate times. And there it was, a selfie posted at 3:15 p.m. with the caption, "Playing hooky from work today." Sometimes you need a mental health afternoon cherry blossom. She was wearing her scrubs in the photo, and her location tag showed she was in my neighborhood. My hands were literally shaking as I took screenshots. For the missing dress, I decided to check with my apartment building's management office. Our building has security cameras in the hallways, and I asked if I could review footage from the past week to see if anyone had entered my apartment while I was at work. The property manager, Janet, was initially hesitant, but when I explained that someone had stolen something important and I suspected I knew who it was, she agreed to review the footage with me. There, clear as day on Thursday afternoon's camera feed, was Maya using the spare key I'd given her for emergencies. She was carrying a garment bag when she left. I felt sick, actually physically nauseous. This person I'd trusted with my spare key, my secrets, my excitement about the biggest moment of my relationship, she had actively sabotaged me. But why? I called her that evening, my voice probably sharper than I intended. "Maya, I need to ask you something directly. Did you take my dress?" Silence. Then, "What? No, why would you even ask me that?" "Because I have security footage of you leaving my apartment with a garment bag on Thursday." More silence. Then she started crying. Through her tears, she confessed everything. She'd refused my dress delivery, pretending to be me and saying it was the wrong address. She'd taken the watch from Mrs. Carter by showing photos of the payment receipts I'd sent her when I was excitedly updating her on my payment progress. And yes, she'd stolen my dress from my apartment. Why? I kept asking. Why would you do this to me? What came next was honestly more shocking than the sabotage itself. Maya told me she'd been in love with Mason since the day we'd introduced them. She'd been hoping that if enough things went wrong with the proposal, I'd postpone it, maybe start having doubts about the relationship, and eventually break up with him. Then she planned to be there for Mason during his heartbreak and hopefully start something with him. She actually thought this plan would work. She thought destroying my proposal would somehow make Mason fall for her instead. I was so angry I couldn't even speak for several minutes. Finally, I managed to ask, "Where are my things?" She'd kept the dress and the watch at her apartment, she said. Some twisted part of her had wanted to keep them as backup, in case I figured things out and confronted her. I demanded she return them immediately, that night. She tried to stall, saying she was tired, that we could deal with it tomorrow, that she was too emotional to drive. But I wasn't budging. I told her I'd come to her place with Mason if necessary. That got her moving. She showed up at my apartment around 11 p.m. with both items, still crying, begging me to forgive her. She kept saying she was sorry, that she'd been confused about her feelings, that our friendship meant everything to her. I took my things and told her I needed time to process everything. I couldn't even look at her properly. Over the next few days, I confided in Mason about what had happened. He was absolutely horrified. He said he'd always felt like Maya was a little too interested in his life, asking personal questions when I wasn't around, but he'd assumed it was just her being friendly. He'd never reciprocated any interest because, first of all, he was completely committed to me, and second, he actually found her attention kind of uncomfortable. This made me feel better and worse at the same time. Better because it confirmed that Mason had never encouraged her behavior. Worse because it meant I'd completely missed the signs that my best friend was harboring feelings for my boyfriend and actively trying to sabotage our relationship. I decided I needed to cut contact with Maya entirely. I blocked her on all social media, blocked her phone number, and asked our mutual friends not to share information about me with her. But she didn't take the hint. She started showing up at places where she knew I'd be. My school, my regular coffee shop, even the grocery store I always went to on Sunday mornings. She'd try to approach me, saying she just wanted to talk things through and fix our friendship. Each time, I'd ignore her and leave. But it was starting to affect my daily life. I felt like I couldn't go anywhere without looking over my shoulder. The breaking point came 3 weeks later. I was having dinner with Mason at our favorite Thai place when Maya walked in and sat down at our table uninvited. She'd clearly been crying, her makeup was smudged, and she immediately started this whole speech about how sorry she was and how she'd learned her lesson. Mason was incredible. He calmly but firmly told her that she needed to leave us alone, that her behavior was inappropriate and making both of us uncomfortable. He said if she really cared about either of us, she'd respect our boundaries and stop showing up places uninvited. Maya completely lost it. She started yelling about how Mason had stolen me away from her, and how our friendship had been perfect before he came along. She accused him of being controlling and claimed I was too brainwashed to see it. The whole restaurant was staring. Security had to escort her out. That's when I realized this wasn't going to stop on its own. The next morning, I went to the police station and filed a report for stalking and harassment. I brought printouts of the security camera footage from my building, screenshots of her admitting to the sabotage over text, and a detailed log I'd started keeping of every time she'd shown up somewhere uninvited. The officer I spoke with, Detective Costa, was really understanding. She explained that what Maya was doing definitely constituted harassment, and the theft of my dress and interference with my package delivery could potentially be charged as theft and mail tampering. They issued Maya a cease and desist order, basically a formal warning that she needed to stop contacting me entirely or face legal consequences. For about a month, things were quiet. I started to relax, thinking maybe she'd finally gotten the message. But then she started creating fake social media accounts to message me. Different names, different profile pictures, but always the same themes. How sorry she was, how much our friendship meant to her, how she was getting help and wanted another chance. I documented everything and took it back to Detective Costa. This time, they issued a restraining order. Maya was legally prohibited from contacting me in any way, directly or indirectly, and had to stay at least 500 feet away from my home, workplace, and any location where I had a regular presence. Violating a restraining order is a criminal offense, and Detective Costa made it clear that if Maya continued her behavior, she'd face arrest and potential jail time. That finally seemed to work. It's been about 8 months now since the restraining order was issued, and I haven't seen or heard from Maya at all. Mason and I got officially engaged 2 months after my original proposal. I kept the vintage watch, and it's perfect on him. We're planning our wedding for next spring, and honestly, not having Maya's negative energy around has made everything so much better. I didn't realize how much her constant subtle criticisms and weird comments had been affecting my confidence and happiness. Looking back, I can see so many red flags I missed. The way she always had something slightly negative to say about Mason. How she'd change the subject when I talked about future plans with him. The way she'd always want to hang out when she knew Mason was busy with work, like she was trying to maximize alone time with me. And honestly, the way she'd dress up more and wear perfume when she knew Mason would be around. I've learned so much about toxic friendships through this experience. Real friends celebrate your happiness, even when they're going through tough times themselves. Real friends don't sabotage the most important moments of your life because they're jealous. And real friends definitely don't steal from you and lie to your face about it. The hardest part has been mourning the friendship I thought we had. For 5 years, I believed Maya was one of my closest friends, someone who genuinely cared about my well-being and wanted me to be happy. Discovering that she'd been harboring romantic feelings for my boyfriend and actively working against my relationship has made me question so many memories and interactions. But I've also learned that I'm stronger than I thought. I stood up for myself. I didn't let her manipulate me into forgiving behavior that was completely unacceptable, and I took the necessary legal steps to protect myself when she wouldn't respect my boundaries. Some of our mutual friends think I was too harsh or that I should have worked things out with Maya instead of involving the police. But I disagree. She committed actual crimes: theft, harassment, stalking. The fact that we used to be friends doesn't excuse that behavior or mean I should have to tolerate it. Mason has been amazing through all of this. He's never once made me feel guilty about bringing this drama into our relationship, even though technically Maya's obsession with him was what caused everything. He's been patient when I've had moments of paranoia about other friends, and he's helped me rebuild my confidence in my ability to judge people's character. We've also talked a lot about boundaries and red flags in relationships, both romantic and platonic. We're both more aware now of warning signs like excessive jealousy, attempts to isolate us from other people, and people who can't celebrate our successes. Planning our wedding has been such a joy without Maya's negativity. My other friends have been incredibly supportive, and I've actually grown closer to several people who I'd let drift away during the years when Maya was demanding more and more of my time and energy. I know this story might sound extreme to some people. Maybe you're thinking I overreacted, or that Maya was just a confused person with unrequited feelings who made some bad decisions. But I want to be really clear. What she did wasn't a momentary lapse in judgment or a mistake born out of heartbreak. She systematically planned and executed multiple acts of sabotage against one of the most important days of my life. She stole from me. She lied to me repeatedly. She used my trust and the spare key I'd given her for emergencies to violate my privacy and steal my property. And when I confronted her, her first instinct was to lie more before finally admitting the truth. Then, when I asked for space to process everything, she refused to respect that boundary and began stalking me. She disrupted my daily life, made me feel unsafe in my own neighborhood, and caused a scene at a restaurant that was embarrassing and distressing. These aren't the actions of someone who made a mistake. These are the actions of someone with serious boundary issues and a disturbing willingness to hurt other people to get what she wants. I'm sharing this story because I want other people to recognize these red flags in their own friendships. Toxic friends can be just as damaging as toxic romantic partners, but somehow we're less likely to call out bad behavior from friends, especially female friends. We make excuses about them being protective or just looking out for us, when really they're being controlling and manipulative. If you have a friend who consistently undermines your relationship, who makes subtle digs about your partner, who seems happier when you're single or having relationship problems, pay attention to that pattern. Real friends want you to be happy and loved, period. If you have a friend who can't respect your boundaries, who shows up uninvited when you've asked for space, who creates drama, and then makes you feel guilty for being upset about it, that's not normal friendship behavior. That's controlling and manipulative. And if you have a friend who goes as far as stealing from you or sabotaging important events in your life, please don't let anyone convince you that you're overreacting by cutting them off, or even involving authorities if necessary. You deserve to have people in your life who celebrate your happiness, not people who actively work against it. Mason and I are doing great. We're excited about our future together, and we've learned so much about supporting each other through difficult situations. The proposal might not have gone exactly as I'd planned, thanks to Maya's interference, but Mason's reaction was everything I could have hoped for, and that's what really matters. We've also had some good laughs about the whole situation, now that it's behind us. Mason jokes that he's glad I'm persistent and dedicated, because anyone less determined might have given up after all the obstacles Maya threw in the way. And I joke that our relationship has been tested by fire and came out stronger. We're planning a beautiful wedding with people who genuinely love and support us both. Maya won't be there, obviously, but honestly, I can't imagine wanting someone at my wedding who spent months actively trying to prevent me from getting engaged in the first place. I hope this story helps someone else who might be dealing with a toxic friend situation. Trust your instincts, protect your boundaries, and don't let anyone convince you that you have to tolerate behavior that makes you uncomfortable just because you have history with that person. Thanks for reading this incredibly long post. It feels good to get the whole story out there, and I hope it gives someone else the courage to stand up for themselves in a similar situation.